conscious souls, chosen ones, empaths. Look, this creature, they are demonic. All right, they are negative energy, whatever you want to call it. They are functional on a lower vibrational frequency. Yes, they are. But it doesn't mean that they don't have regrets. Okay? They don't, look, a genuine person will have regrets in life for things that they partake in, for things that they do, for actions that they do, for choices that they make, for things like that, right? And you'll have an emotional, heartfelt response. But now with the narcissist, because they're with these lower vibrational entities or this frequency or whatever they're on, they have a self-absorbed regret. Their regret is based around their supply. Their whole entire existence is based around supply. So they have regret, and they are drowning in regret, in fact, over your relationship ending. Also, look, there's an agenda, there's a motive to keep you hurt, to not let you know the truth that this narcissist does have regret. There's an agenda from I don't know where, all right? That's as much as I'll say. But it wants to make you think that this narcissist is infallible. They're this person that walks around with no feelings. They have more feelings, okay? Energy points or feelings, right, with inside themselves than the common person, because they get affected off, and you can tell that, right? You only have to go, if this is a friend, all right, you went with a friend to another country on a holiday, or you went a romantic relationship, or you went somewhere, or you went for a meal, like you can see how they get affected by the most minuscule of things. And that's because they're more sensitive, all right? They're more sensitive than you think, which based upon that and the research that I've done, they have feelings. They have self-absorbed regret. Okay. So with this agenda that's trying to make you think they don't care, they have no regrets. Like, of course they do. When they had someone like you in their lives that they're never going to get again. All right. They may have even told you, you'll never find this again. You won't. Yeah. They're projecting their own feelings of inadequacy onto you. All right. They're never going to find someone like you again. So of course they're regretting. Of course they're realizing now supply don't match up. The life they thought they were going to have with these new suppliers or these minions or these flying monkeys was going to be better than the amount, like, of course they thought it was going to work out for them, and it hasn't. All right. What did I used to say? They thought they're going over to fresh green blades of grass. As this fellow commenter said one time, thought they were going over to fresh green blades of grass, and they got over there and they realized they're on AstroTurf, you know. And then that's difficult for them to deal with. All right. That's a real difficult thing for them to deal with. Like, you know, when reality kicks in, basically, reality kicks in, and they're aware, because they worried about what people think about them. They're aware that, yeah, hang about, people are going to make judgment upon them because they were the dusty supply, you see? And they're minions and they're flying monkeys, and they don't have so much of a bravado. They don't have so much of it intact. Like they can't maintain this standard of what they appeared like before, and people see them rapidly declining. Now, the thing about this is you're in so much hurt. You may be looking on their social media, you may be not, but you're not seeing their decline for some reason because you're in hurt. The thing about this is some of you take, you know, when they try to attack you, and I don't mean literally physically attack you. I mean, when they try to lash out with some agenda or some vendetta or something like that, that's a cry for help. You know, it's a cry for help. Please don't approach them. They need to approach you properly. If you was even going to go down that pursuit, which I strongly advise you don't, but I'm just saying, like, don't read into it too much. I'm just trying to give you the information so you've got it. All right. These smear campaigns, these lashing outs, these agendas that they have and all this stuff is a huge cry for help after the relationship's ended. Okay. The spying, all of this stuff, the fake profiles, all this stuff is a scream for help. All right. You got to understand that what this signifies is you're still on their mind. Why are you still on their mind? Because they're suffering from self-absorbed regret. And it's something you've got to know. You've got to internalize this. You've got to have the knowing. Okay. And I want you to break this pattern too, because some of you have started your own channels and things like that. I want you to try and break this agenda that the narcissist is this infallible creature. People are believing the mask. People see the mask slip, then they believe in the mask. All right. There's coaches and things like that believe the mask. All right. They say, oh yes, the narcissist is grandiose on a clinical perspective. They're very grandiose. They're full of themselves. No, they're not. They're fragile. They're sensitive. They've got low feelings of self-worth, and they've got an inferiority complex. 100%. They have that. All right. They don't have a love for themselves. Okay. Someone that loves themselves wouldn't treat someone in a way that they've treated you. You see? Because they have love for themselves, right? I hope you're with me on that. I hope you understand what I mean by that. Someone who's able to love themselves, who feels good about themselves, isn't going to try and drag someone down. They're going to use all their effort within inside them to build other people up. And that's what a lot of people are looking for. They want someone to help them build up, or they want to build together a union and thing like that. Like, you know, they want people. You want to be around people that build you up if you're around anyone at all. If you're not around people that build you up, then stay away from people in general. You see what I'm saying? But they are drowning in regret, right? They are facing this reality without you. They're on the astroturf. They had fresh green blades of grass with you. Reality kicks in. All comes tumbling down. And that's the position they're in. Of course, they're not going to show this. Of course, on the surface, this is why some of you get confused why they go off and live the life that they promised you with someone else. The reason why they do that is because it's still revolving around you. All right? They try to make people into other people. It's actually quite sick what they do. Okay. You know, even in the sexual intimacy and things like that, they will try and make the other person in romantic relationships behave like someone else. I've heard of them trying to change people's looks, clothes they wear, hairstyles, all this sort of stuff, right? And that's because they still hold on to you. And that's what you should have an awareness of, and knowing that they're orientating themselves around life, trying to find a supply source better than you, because they're in this self-absorbed regret. They're a regretful mess. They're drowning in regret. And this is what they're going through. So when you get these attacks, right, these spiritual attacks, these real attacks, right, like when they're lashing out, and I'm not talking about physical violence, I mean when they're lashing out or something like that, with some agenda or some smear campaign or something like that, it's their cry for help. You need to see through the veil. Okay, please, if this is the first time you're hearing this information, come back and check this video again. Okay, if it hasn't all sunk in, please don't take these things that they're doing as it means nothing. It means the opposite. You see, you've got to see beneath the veil with these creatures. Remember, they are functioning on a lower vibrational frequency, things that we can't quite comprehend at the time. Even, you were vibrating at a higher frequency even prior to your knowledge, right? But this lower vibrational stuff goes over your head sometimes. These attacks, these digs, these things go over your head, right? And until the point of your awakening, then you just see it, right? But remember, we do fall back to sleep every now and then, all right? We can fall back to sleep because there's a comfort in that sleep state. Remember, there's more negative than positive from being in the sleep state. But I'm saying when you're in the sleep state, you're comfortable. You don't realize the danger. You don't realize the harm that can happen, right? When you're in that sleep state. So please don't go back to that for comfort. All right. You may fall back to sleep, but if you try and have remembrance of God in your daily life, or the universe, or spiritual practices, or whatever, this helps you maintain. Okay. The human being is very functionable, right? So remember, hear me out now. The practice and worship of God or the universe or whatever you want to say is like a ritualistic behavior, but it actually helps the human being stay functionable. It's like a healthy ritualism, right? But they have negative ritualism, you see, where they're drowning in regret, things they're doing to try and remind them of you and things they're trying to stay close to you. They have an unhealthy ritualism, coping mechanisms they have in life, right? We have coping mechanisms too to get through life, but we lean on God or spiritual practices and stuff like that as a spiritual crutch in this world. So just understand that they are going through major regret. Please stop the agenda of people thinking that they don't regret, because of course they do, right? They have regrets. They really do. And it's something you got to know. They don't have the trust in God's plan and through the hard times and stuff like that. They don't have it, you know? So anyway, thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate the support. Please book a session if you'd like to. If you'd like to donate or support to the channel, you can. Check out Zion Music and check out Zion Spiritual. So anyway, I'll be back with another video soon. Peace.